My name is Emily Bishop, and I'm a senior at Gainesville High School. I have grown up in this church, so you may recognize me from playing oboe with the orchestra on Sunday mornings, singing in the Sunlight Youth Choir, playing handbells, volunteering at Vacation Bible School and Connect camps, or maybe just walking around the church. When Brenda first asked me to do this sermon, I was a little bit nervous, but being up here, I'm excited. So please forgive me, though. This is not my full-time job, and I'm not in any way trying to take Pastor Jeremy's job away. When first reading the verses that Lainey just read for us in preparation for this sermon, the song Help by the Beatles just kept coming to my mind. You know, the one that goes, help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody. And it got me thinking about how much the disciples needed help in this story. They were scared, lost, and overwhelmed. Of course, the Beatles may not have been thinking of this story when they first released Help. We know the disciples were definitely not singing the song, but the song kept playing over and over in my mind as I studied these verses. The disciples started off with a simple task: get the boat to the other side. The disciples, of course, didn't question Jesus when he asked them to do it. They just went and did it. Little did they know, this presumed simple task included an enduring night of rowing without knowing when they would reach land, fearing if they would survive, and worrying if they would see Jesus again. The task would require help to complete. I once found myself in a similar situation, going off to complete a task that I thought would be simple, but ended up needing help in the long run. My freshman year of high school, I decided to join the marching band drumline, and it may look very simple, just bang the mallets with the rhythm. That's not right. After trying to complete several simple warm-up patterns, it took several upperclassmen, several practices, several weeks, and a lot of effort to get me to understand it. Just like the disciples, I too needed help. Here goes that song again. Help, I need somebody. Help, not just anybody. For a second, I want you to imagine that you're one of the disciples. You're in a boat with pitch black all around you, harsh waves crashing against your boat, and winds that are so hard you're only paddling against the wind and no longer getting anywhere. Then you see a mysterious figure walking on the water. You call out, "Ghost," and it answers. It sounds just like Jesus, but Peter doesn't believe it. They have endured a night of rowing without knowing when they would reach land, feared if they would survive, and worried if they would see Jesus again. Then the cry for help occurs. Can you hear Peter saying, "Help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody"? Jesus then calls out to Peter to join him on the water. Peter is amazed. He can really walk on water. He's focused on Jesus and only Jesus. But then he gets overwhelmed by the wind and the rain, and Peter starts to sink. But then he cries out for help. Jesus cries out and says, "What got into you? Why did you doubt me?" We all have those moments in life when we get distracted by the wind and the rain. We are consumed by the task ahead without any belief that we will succeed. Maybe we get overwhelmed by our schedules and we take our eyes off of Jesus. When you look back on these times, do you hear Jesus asking you, "What got into you? Why did you doubt me?" A couple weeks ago in Wednesday Night Youth, we did an activity where we wrote down things that overwhelm us that we wanted adults to know or realize. These are things that we need to say, "Help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody." And remember that Jesus is there. These are the wind and the rain that we cannot see through. These are the everyday events, but yet, do we say help? Some of the most common things that the youth wrote down were how hard school has become, and we can't do it all. The things going on in the world and in society, they affect us too. We are under more stress than we decide to show, and it is not always our fault, technology's fault, or our friend's fault. These are just some of the wind and the rain moments for many of our youth today. Those wind and rain moments and many more are when we need to ask Jesus for help. Jesus will save us if we put our faith in him, just like how he put Peter back into the boat. He will help us. He will help save us as well, protect us from the wind and the rain, if only we turn to him for help. Jesus was physically present in body on earth at the time of our scripture for today. Now, he oftentimes uses each of us to do his work. Jesus is with us. Jesus gave us one another to help each other back into the boat. He gave us our youth for Youth Sunday. He gave us our community, and he gave us our church. It is only with those willing to be Jesus and help put people back into the boat that we can complete the tasks we have to do. Let me tell you about two church members who have always been in my boat. After teaching my second grade and third grade Sunday school, they have continued on a regular basis to mentor, to nurture, and help shape me. Eating lunch with them almost every Sunday was definitely a norm before the pandemic. They are continuously there for me, and I can always know they're here to love, support, and boost me. I've always been able to count on them. They probably don't want any recognition at all, and if you know them, they're doing this as they have for many. They do not do it for the recognition, but to help and to be Jesus for us. There are so many ways they can and have supported me, but I always know they're here to protect me from the wind and the rain, help me see the right way through, and to navigate the waters. And while I mention them specifically, they are honestly just one of the many of you in this church that have fully taken on the role to answer the call for help, and to be Jesus, and to be there to help us through the wind and the rain. Whether you're willing to admit it or not, everyone in this room needs help. Everyone at some point gets distracted, overwhelmed, tired, or stressed. So when this happens, step number 1 is to call out to Jesus. Step number 2, get in the boat with your church and community and help each other do what God has called us to do. The youth group has always had a saying, "We are family." This doesn't just apply to the youth, but to the whole entire church as well, to our neighbors and everyone that we see every day. I hope you will volunteer to be in someone's boat and be their family. Whether this be by asking if they're available for lunch, maybe coming down to the youth room one Wednesday night like Miss Betty, or just reaching out a hand and saying that you're there for them. Help someone, as we saw in the scripture passage, so that when we get distracted or overwhelmed by the wind and the rain, you will be there to help them have faith and make it through the wind and rain. We need each of you to answer the call for help. Thank you.